Students, now in this lecture, we will see a requirement of two-wheeler suspension system. So there are basically two requirement of suspension system. The suspension mechanism should allow a relative motion between the wheel and the vehicle and the wheel vehicle frame. Okay, so जो wheels होते हैं road wheels and the vehicle frame, इन दोनों के बीच में relative motion प्रोवाइड करने का काम सस्पेंशन मैकेनिज्म का है. इट शुड आइसोलेट द व्हीकल बॉडी एंड फ्रेम फ्रॉम द रोड शॉक विथ प्रोविजन ऑफ कंट्रोल हैंडलिंग ऑफ व्हीकल. सो जो भी रोड सरफेस से रोड व्हील्स को शॉक कन्वे होते हैं, रोड शॉक कन्वे होते हैं, जर्क कन्वे होते हैं, that should not be transmit to the frame and should not be transmit to the rider or pinion and provide a control handling of the vehicle. That is two main objective of our two-wheeler suspension system is there. So there are basically two kind of requirement need to be fulfilled by suspension system, such as the kinematic requirement and the dynamic requirement. So what is the kinematics? It is a branch of mechanics concerned with the motion of object without reference to the forces which causes the motion. So it is a thing or it is a study of motion of object विदाउट रेफरेंस ऑफ फोर्स. जो फोर्स जिस फोर्स के वजह से मोशन क्रिएट हुई है, उस फोर्स को एक्सेप्ट करके, उस फोर्स को एग्जम्पशन करके ओनली टू स्टडी अ मोशन. ओके, दैट इज that science is nothing but the kinematics. So there are totally 12 degree of freedom or 12 degree of motion, about 12 degree or about 12 directions the motion of the object or motion of that vehicle is possible. Those are nothing but the first one is the transverse moment, or sorry, angular moments, positive clockwise anti-clockwise movement about x-axis, clockwise anti-clockwise movement about y-axis, and clockwise and anti-clockwise movement, angular moment about z-axis. So these are total what 6 degree of freedom in case of the angular. Okay, to clockwise and anti-clockwise about x-axis, clockwise anti-clockwise about y-axis, clockwise anti-clockwise about z-axis. So total there are 6 degree of freedoms there. And next one is the linear moment. So linear moment again it have a 6 degree of freedoms. One is nothing but the two are nothing but the front and backward, sidewards this side and left side and right side, and up and bottom. Okay, so there are 12 degree of freedoms are there in case of the canal. So study of total 12 degree of freedoms are there considered in case of the kinematics when we are talk about the suspension system. Okay, so wheels are supposed to be move frontward, backward. At the same time wheel are supposed to move in upward and up and down. Okay, and here the side movement left and right is only possible by the steering movement. Okay, so as during the left turn or right turn, the sideways skidding of the tire contact patch is there, so that is a transfer motion about the spin axis. Left side and right side are take place at that time of instant. Okay, front and back, towards front or towards backward motion of the tire is take place whenever tire is vehicle are in a movement. Upward and downward movement is take place when vehicle are travel across the bump or the dip. Okay, so there are 12 degrees about which or 12 degree of freedoms are available in case of the tire movement. So study about that 12 direction or 12 motions is comes under the kinematics. Now what is the dynamics? It is a branch of science or mechanics which concerned with the motion and force responsible for making motion of object. ओके, सो दैट मोशन जो हो रहा है हमारा उस 12 डायरेक्शन में, और वो मोशन करने वाला फोर्स जो रिस्पॉन्सिबल है उसको, तो स्टडी ऑफ दोज टू is comes under the dynamics. So what are the forces? Driving torque है, driving thrust है, braking torque है, braking thrust है. Thrust is nothing but the force. Okay, so total dead weight act on the suspension system है, acceleration and deceleration moment है, cornering force है. So all those are comes under the dynamics. Now there is a video which shows in case of the suspension system there is a damper is one of the important things. So there is one video why damper is required with the spring arrangement to absorb the road shock. So in case of the two-wheeler suspension system, we can observe there is a spring and damper is there, which is integrated together to in order to form a shock absorber. Okay, so why damper is used together in, or why damper is used with spring in case of the suspension system, not only in case of the four-wheeler, it is also used in case of the two-wheeler also. But in case of the two-wheeler, damper is not separate, it is used in one system. It's called as a shock absorber, in which spring is also present and the damper is also present. But in case of the four-wheeler, damper is different. Okay, and a damper is differently used and spring is differently used in case of the wishbone. But in case of MacPherson stud, you can also, it is integrated. Okay, so similarly in case of the two-wheeler also, damper and spring both are integrated together in order to form a shock absorber. So why damper is required? So for that purpose, there is one video is there. So by observing that video, you can see, you can understood, easy to understood why damper is required in case of suspension. But before that, before going to that video, I want to conclude it. Damper is there in order to damp the noise of the spring. What is the noise of spring? If you observe any spring, if you deflect that spring, okay, and if one end of the spring is hold by your hand and another end is another end of the spring is compressed by your another hand, and you release it, then you're supposed to notice that the spring start to be oscillated and it start to be vibrate. So this vibration movement or unnecessary oscillation, up and down oscillation of the spring, is nothing but noise of the spring. If such a kind of movement is occur uh, in case of the vehicle, then after passing any speed breaker, the vehicle are continuously dancing on the straight road. It become a somewhat un or inconvenient to what are the passengers seated in that vehicle. So they are continuous once the deep speed breaker is crossed by the vehicle which which having only spring in that, then because of the noise of the spring, the vehicles continuously dancing or up and down movement is continuously there take place, which gives a inconvenient appeal, or which gives a uncomfort to that passengers. Okay, so to damp those noise, to damp those oscillation, we require a damper. Okay, so what damper does? Damper absorb energy of excessive energy of the spring, or excessive energy of absorbed by spring into it, and release those energy very periodic or very uniform in nature, which helps to oscillate the damping moment of the vehicle once it passing over the speed broker. So whatever the oscillation after the damper is take place, after the application of damper is take place, is very smooth, and it's not as that heavy as it is happen in case of the spring. So damping the excessive energy absorbed by spring is the task of the damper. Okay, so that you can easily notice by after watching this video. I hope you have understood. Just go through with this video which I have uploaded here. Thank you.